Alrighty fellas, we have a most intriguing devblog to go through today. They're announcing several new ships in this devblog, along with some information at the end which could mean one of several things, but probably quite exciting for you American battleship enjoyers out there. So this devblog was released a few hours ago at the time of recording. If you wish to read along as I read aloud, you can check out the link in the description down below. I will be throwing any relevant images or artwork up on the screen as we get through this, so if you're not reading along, you can see the nice pretty pictures up on the screen when we get to those points. But anyway, let's go ahead and get on into it. I do apologize if I sound a little off. I am still quite sick because the weather's changing and I made the mistake of going outside and now my immune system is trying to kill me, but hey, you know, I should survive. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this devblog. So they say new ships closed test 13.5. Captains, update 13.5 is approaching fast. That means we have news to share about new ships entering testing as well as updated 3D models of previously announced ships. First up is a new Tier 9 premium Spanish cruiser, the Almirante Oquendo, something, probably one of those, right? Anyway, they say a heavy cruiser which is the embodiment of the Super Washington cruiser design with a 17,500 ton displacement, Proyecto 138, developed in 1938 at the Spanish Naval Shipyard in Ferrol. The ship was named after famous Spanish naval commander of the 16th to 17th centuries, Antonio de Oquendo, a name which our ship inherits from a historical cruiser that was lost in battle against a U.S. Navy squadron off Santiago de Cuba in July of 1898. Do you like guns? Yes, I do. I own 38 of them. If so, Almirante Oquendo may be the ship for you. A powerful main battery of 12 203mm guns, that's a lot of guns at Tier 9, give her a heavy broadside and good damage per minute. She additionally features an alternative firing mode, but with a bit of a twist. Her guns become substantially more accurate at the cost of a longer reload when activated. I must say that is indeed a twist. While she is quite fast for a cruiser, there is a significant downside. A vulnerable citadel means the captains will have to be wary of enemy battleships and heavy cruisers. Rounding out her arsenal are standard consumables for a cruiser, DFAA and Hydro in the same slot, a choice of fighter or spotter, and repair party. Gameplay-wise, Almirante Oquendo shines as an ambush predator. Great accuracy and the broadside power of her main battery means that unsuspecting enemies can be swiftly removed from the field. Play behind friendly destroyers to ensure control of key areas and utilize her speed to destroy enemy cruisers from unexpected positions. Due to her poor survivability, care has to be taken in extended engagements and enemy battleships pose a significant threat. So let's see her stats real quick. So she has 48,300 hit points, 25mm plating, again 12-203s with a range of 17.6 kilometers. The AP shells do 4,500 maximum damage, have a velocity of 814 meters a second. Her HE can pen 34 and do 2,850 maximum damage. 70% fire chance. What's her reload time? 12 seconds, okay? And the alternative firing mode, her reload time is increased to 18 seconds, and you get a 20% buff to her dispersion, which is right now 154 meters with 2.05 sigma. Okay, you know, that is genuinely a very interesting mix-up when it comes to the alternative firing mode. And, you know, a Tier 9 cruiser with 12 203s, that's a lot of firepower any way you cut it. So I'm very interested to see how this ship does progress and if she gets to maintain that alternative firing mode all through her testing phase. I guess we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, no, I am quite interested in the Oquendo. Looks like it's kind of like American cruisers. We'll have to wait and see exactly what her shell parameters are. But yes, I'm excited for her. Next up is something that some of you probably aren't going to be too excited about, but some of you are going to be very excited about, is a new British premium carrier, which I am not kidding you. It is the ship of Theseus, or Theseus, however you say it. But yes, HMS Theseus was a light aircraft carrier of the Colossus class. The first batch of ships from the large group originated from the 1942 design light fleet carriers. At the height of World War II, Great Britain was in dire need of carriers, which prompted the emergence of a design that represented an intermediate link between the expensive attack aircraft carriers of the Illustrious class and the relatively cheap, slow-moving escort carriers. All ships of the Colossus class were ordered from private shipyards, and their construction used technologies normally used for construction of merchant ships. HMS Theseus, I think it's Theseus, whatever, was laid down in January of 1943 and commissioned in February of 1946, thus not being completed in time to take part in the Second World War. The most striking period in the ship's history was the Korean War. Theseus took an active part in the operations of UN forces off the coast of the peninsula. In the international operation during the Suez Crisis, the carrier played a secondary role. In 1957, she was put into reserve, and in 1960, Theseus was withdrawn from the Navy list. Theseus features a blend of characteristics somewhat similar to Indomitable, with only 2 small squadrons of high-speed survivable aircraft available to her. Her first squadron is made up of torpedo bombers carrying a large number of torpedoes per drop. Though each torpedo deals low damage individually, the second squadron carries 1 high-damage skip bomb per plane. These bombs have the unique feature of being extremely inaccurate on the first skip, while becoming very accurate by the third skip. Rounding out Theseus's loadout is an average plane regeneration time, making limited losses somewhat sustainable. However, it's not all upsides. Theseus has very limited hangar space. Her aircraft have poor maneuverability, and the lack of secondaries or long-range AA will make defending her own hull a challenge. In combination, Theseus's strengths makes her an excellent fast-attack aircraft carrier, able to keep up pressure on the enemy as long as care is taken to minimize plane losses. Against enemy battleships, the fast travel time of aircraft make Theseus effective at setting fires and floods, while precise aim with her skip bombers can deal heavy damage to lighter targets. Captains will want to focus on striking targets already engaged with their teammates. The poor maneuverability of her aircraft can make spotting and attacking her own targets a challenge. Alright, so it sounds like they're just trying to, reuse the Colossus model since, they can't really introduce that ship again because it's kind of cracked. So we get the Theseus instead. Theseus. I think it's Theseus because it's like ship of Theseus. Whatever. I apologize if I butchered that name, as always. Alright, so we got a couple of model updates. The Johnston's model is complete, so now the Frank Friday will cease to exist in-game and be replaced by the Johnston, which looks like this. So, yay, now we can actually see what the Johnston looks like, and surprise, it's a Fletcher. And the French destroyer Leia Venturi also has a completed model now, but apparently her perma camo is not done. Now here comes the really interesting and a little bit of speculation. So, in the last little bit of this DevBlog, there's a little snippet here at the end that states the following about the following ships. We are adding several clones of existing ships for concept testing purposes. We're getting a Colorado 2, a North Carolina 2, an Iowa 2, a Montana 2, a Palau 2, and Admiral. So obviously Colorado through Palau are those respective ships, right? The Colorado 2 is a Colorado, Iowa 2 is an Iowa, Montana 2 is a Montana, and the Palau is a Palau. And then the Admiral is a clone or a ship based on the D7 Provincian. And then we also get Staatenland, which is another clone of the D7. And one looks to be more close-range tooled, one looks to be more long-range tooled. So it's like, okay, cool, they're bringing in the sister ships of the D7 classes. But anyway, what's most interesting about the rest of that list is the 2 D7 clones and the Palau. You have literally the upper half of the American battleship tech tree, but just 2, right? And they're not giving them names of other ships in the class like they're doing with the Admiral and the Staatenland, right? And this is a break from normal wargaming tradition when it comes to testing out new ships. they typically, like we saw with the Johnston, they give it a different name of a ship of the same class, and they say, okay, this is for testing purposes for, whatever. But they're just dropping a 2 behind the names here, which means one of two things. They've got another American battleship line coming up that might be tooled differently. It might be like the Wisconsin, where they have the different shell parameters at range, and maybe they will be getting the combat instructions since the Wisconsin's been such a big hit here recently. Or the other main theory that I've seen, and it's not just like they're making them like Wisconsin. I'm just saying they could be making a second. I was going to say a second, but really it's a fourth or a fifth American battleship split, right? The second theory that I've seen is that, well, maybe they're wanting to tweak the American battleship mainline. They are, literally one of the oldest battleship lines in the game, but they don't really need to. The American battleship mainline is still doing quite well from what I've seen. I mean, they got their big healing buff, 2 or 3 years ago, where they got the improved American battleship heal from the Colorado on up. And they've been doing great ever since then. Like I've said in many a video, the Montana herself, despite being, tied to be the oldest Tier 10 battleship in the game, she still got it in the year of our Lord 2024. So does the Iowa, so does the North Carolina. Colorado, maybe, because, being stuck at 20 knots at Tier 7 isn't a really fun time to have, but you do have 16-inch guns, so there's that. So they could be doing that, or they could be testing, I don't know, some type of module upgrade or a new module for the American battleships on these second ships in this line now. But I'm leaning more toward they're either making a new tech line out of the American battleships, or we're about to start seeing some sister ship premium ships. Like I mentioned, they are running out of real life ships to add to the game, and if they want to add in more premium ships, they're going to have to start with sister ships. And all these ships have several sister ships that, well, except for the Montana, because the Montanas were never completed, right? We still have the New Jersey you could get out of the Iowa class, right? The fourth sister finally. We just got Wisconsin. You could add in, you could redeem yourself here, Wargaming, and give us the actual Louisiana instead of that abomination we got, right? But it's probably going to be one of the other ones. I can't remember the names right now. It's probably going to be something like that, I would imagine. Either we're going to get some premiums out of this line, or we're going to get a fourth American battleship tech line, which wouldn't really surprise me because we have 3 American battleship lines right now, despite some tech lines that should have battleships are still lacking their battleships, right? So it could be something like that, but that's just interesting the way they're doing that, with adding in the 2 behind the names instead of giving them separate names of their respective classes. So interesting little bit there at the end. Let me know what you guys think is going on with that there at the end. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. On our way to 60,000 subscribers, we're getting very close to that goal, within 4,000 subs of that goal. I will be doing another giveaway once we get to that goal, so make sure you stick around here for that. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. I will be trying to live stream here on the channel from around 3:30, 4 p.m. U.S. Central Time to around 8 p.m. U.S. Central Time tonight, so make sure you come out for that here on the channel and on Twitch. And again, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.